Hey guys, welcome back to Java Advanced. This is going to be lesson 2. So today we're going to be covering projectiles. So as a quick review, a class is a blueprint for creating objects, and an interface is a description of classes that implement it, which basically specify what behaviors and methods it'll have. So projectiles. You should look at your starter code and you should see the projectile class with the following methods and variables that implements drawable. Remember, that's an interface we created that allows us to draw it. It's going to have these instance variables, a constructor, and then methods. So now create an instance variable called projectiles of type ArrayList projectile in the screen class. So we're moving from the projectile class to the screen class, and set it to an empty ArrayList inside the constructor. And then using a loop, draw the projectiles in the paint component function. So loop through that array list of projectiles and then call the draw function on it. And you can just look inside the drawable interface and then call that method that we created. And now we're going to move on to animation. So if we're moving our objects, we're going to have to update the screen. So we want to create an animate function and use a while loop. So in public void animate, while true, because this is always going to be running, you're going to have this. This basically just means it's going to rerun every 10 milliseconds. You should have this in your code already, but if you don't, go ahead and add that. And then put your code here. That's going to be actually doing the animating. So we'll put the link in the description, but copy the animation function from this project. And then in the while loop, call the move function of the enemies and the fast enemies using a loop. And then you also want to call the move right function of the projectiles using a loop. That way all the projectiles will continue to move right like they're supposed to. Okay, you should also have a listener class with the following methods and variables. Make sure you have that. You also will need to have these imports to make sure you have all the required methods. Okay, so now when we're setting up a listener, you're going to want to make sure that your screen class has a listener implemented already. So you can just do private listener, and then create an instance variable of the listener and initialize it in the constructor. And then we're going to add the listener to the screen. And the reason we're able to do this, this add key listener, is because JPanels are able to add listeners. And the screen we created is an example of a JPanel. So we're going to do this .add because we're adding it to the screen, which is the class we're in. Okay. So now we're going to add a little bit more to our screen class, which is going to be stuff we're going to use. So we're going to do move ship down, move ship up, and attack. So like the names say, it's going to move the ship up, it's going to move the ship down, and it's going to add a new projectile that starts at the center of the ship's body. So that's going to be the coordinates. Okay, so now we're back in the listener class. So in key pressed, use e.getKeyCode. To get the key code, which is basically a way to decipher which key was actually pressed. Because at this point, we only know that something was done, but we don't know what. So then import java.awt.event.keyEvent inside the listener file, and then use the functions in the screen class that we just covered on the previous slide, these ones, to call the specific actions that we want. So if key code, which is what we grabbed at the beginning of this slide, equals keyEvent.vkup, that's the up key, vk down is the down key, and vk space, then you're going to call the attack method. This is what it should look like. This is your listener class. So we just implemented key press. We have get key code, and then we check what key code it is, and then we call the appropriate method. Okay, so now we have the basics of getting stuff from our keyboard, and we also have some projectile stuff set up. So I'll see you next time.